Hi guys, how's it going? A little bit sort of bedraggled at the moment, but there's a common thing that happens every so often in a lot of kink communities, and that's usually there's a blow up or an incident, and that for me in our local community, it seems like every 3 to 6 months there's a blow up about usually the same thing. Usually the same people are involved, usually the same people stirring shit up, usually the same people offering support or counseling and all that. Usually it's just a cover for them wanting to groom these people into their little clique. Um, what makes this time for me a bit more notable, apart from the very, very long amounts of information that have come through, which undoubtedly taken at, you know, face value are shocking things, but I keep in mind that that is also their point of view, and that they're distressed. People say, "Oh, you victim blame." I say, "No, that's just one person's point of view." Now, if you get many different points of view, not all from one side, but from many different sides, um, for opposing, indifferent, then you're going to come to, more I don't know, a truer value of what kind of happened and what are things that could have influenced. Now, what brought some of this to my attention was that the claim that people had no formal training in what it is that they were doing, namely things like shibari and flogging and everything else that we do within the kink community. Here's the thing: there is no official government certificate, training course, or whatever for what it is that we do. That's the hard truth. Um, so if you want to fall back on the claim that they had no official training, that they weren't trained properly, I'm like, that's a risk you should be aware of. You should be educating yourself that no, they have no insurance for what they do, or we have no insurance for what we do. There are people who will pass on knowledge, create workshops, do courses, and give you little certificates, but those are really just pieces of paper that really do not mean anything other than you have a certificate of attendance. There's many people I know who've learnt from their jobs, who use the parts and aspects of their jobs within their kink and their kink activities. Some of them will pass on knowledge, some of them, most of them that I know that do a lot of the, I guess, what people would call high risk activities, don't tend to pass on their knowledge to just any random or new people or people that they don't trust. And a lot of people that I know that have been in the scene for quite a while, they stay away from a lot of the new people that are around these days. Um, there's a lot of assumptions, a lot of things that people think how things should be, such as negotiations and things before play ought to be written. Traditionally, no, they're not written. Some people say that they should. I say, well, it depends on the people that you hang around with, the people that you're playing with. If you come into contact with a lot of new people and they believe that, that there should be an actual written contract or a written form of consent for what you're doing, legally, well, that will not stop them from pressing charges if they don't like you and they want to take you out for some reason because you didn't reciprocate any feelings or the experience wasn't quite what they wanted. People have, like, regret play where it's not what they thought it would be and they didn't like it, so it's got to be all the top's fault. Um, Again, circumstances, different people, different contexts, what was talked about, what was negotiated. Um, and I say this to everybody, just because it's kink, don't lose your head. I mean, would you go off and with some random person on a normal coffee date. And a lot of people go, well, no, I wouldn't. I said, well, then why would you randomly go off with a person that you don't really know or have met a few times if, that's something you wouldn't normally do? I'm like, well, but back to qualifications, there is no formal qualifications for a lot of these things. As I said, some people will have their occupation crossover with their kink, or things that they have formal qualifications for, like official formal qualifications for, that will cross over into kink. However, anyone could learn anything off YouTube. Anyone can pay anyone to go to any workshop and be formally trained, certified, and yeah, that really it really is nothing. It really means nothing. I've seen many people that create academies, create workshops, and you get a little certificate and you pay a lot of money and all that sort of stuff. But unless it is actually certified by government, and the government officially goes, right, you're certified in how to train a slave. Yeah, that's just not. I mean, as much preparation as good as the training is, a lot of it's not official, so it's pretty unrealistic. But having said that, again, caution people, try and educate yourself. By all means, go to these workshops, go do the training if that's what you feel that you need, but don't look at it as this is how everything should be. Look at it as more of this is you gaining knowledge to be more aware of the risks you are taking, and talk to people that have been in for a long time, people who have gone to some of these or hold these training workshops, and people who don't. People who actually will train one-on-one in a kind of a mentorship, because a lot of old school people will do that, because a lot of the knowledge that they would like to pass on, they want to be sure that you're going to be responsible with that knowledge. They want to know and watch you. Some people over many, many years, they will watch somebody, they'll watch them play, they'll watch them be played with, they'll watch their reactions, how they deal with things, and they'll make a decision. If you go in and ask them, can you teach me this, they will say yes or no, based on what they see you doing, how you conduct yourself. And I can tell you there's a lot of people who will spend some time with you, teaching you things, but a lot of people doing the more, risk aware or higher risk activities, most likely will tell you to look this up and are you aware, and they will, it's like a test, they'll ask you lots of questions. Are you aware of this? Are you aware of that? What are the signs of this? Before they'll even consider even talking to you about it. It's not, some might think as, oh, they're passing me off and they're rude and all sorts of other stuff, but they want to know, are you aware and mature enough to go and find out as much information as you can by yourself? Can you apply that information, or are you just getting spoon-fed, or do you like getting spoon-fed information and you're just applying it by rote? Because that doesn't take into account a lot of real-life scenarios where things may differ contextually, and you might have to think outside the box using the knowledge that you have to apply to a certain situation in order to reduce the risk or manage the risk, as it were. So yeah, my rant for today. I'm not sure if it'll be helpful for you, but it might be good for a lot of people, the training, the workshops and all that sort of stuff. Me and my friends, sometimes we sort of sit around and we talk about concepts in some sort of, like, I don't know, a Skillshare kind of thing, but mostly we like to exchange information and talk about things. Have I held some workshops and all that? I have, purely as an informative basis, as more of a informal look. I'm not going to here to lecture you, I'm here to give you some information. You ask me all sorts of information, I can answer them for you. That is my perspective from my experience, and this is what I do. But by all means, there's plenty of other sites, here they are. Look at them, look on YouTube, look on all these places, and decide what is best for you. Test it out. If not, refine it. Anyway, gone a lot longer than I thought. So remember, there's no formal qualifications, because you can imagine trying to get that past the education boards. I want to teach people how to be slaves. I want to teach people how to hurt people. Yeah. I don't see formal qualifications like that coming around anytime soon, at least not to the public. I'll catch you guys later. You have a good week. Bye.